Hi and welcome to another Friday live, or as we often call it, a pre-record. I'm in Denham. I'm in Denham for the reboot. So one of the ways we start the new year, looking at our bridge and trying to reboot it. This time I am doing conventions. So sorry not to be here with you, but I'll be back on Sunday evening and therefore be raring to go on Monday and then Wednesday and Friday. In fact, we're back to relatively normal for the rest of January. I'm off to the Isle of Wight at the beginning of February. So that's the Trouville in Sandown. That's just before I go skiing. Looking forward to that with the family. Alfie's done it once before and loved it, so hopefully he'll enjoy it again. Who knows, we might have snow here as well. We are well ensconced in double annuary already, I hope. I am hoping that you have had plenty of doubles already, and if not, why not? Because I want more doubling this month. I want more doubling this month, please. Send in your hands for that. Send in some defensive hands. They're a little bit more tricky, but do send in defensive situations. They are interesting. Today we are still on second hand low. But as we know, there are exceptions. But for the most part, if you keep playing low, you'll probably do pretty well. What else have we got? Well, we're going to carry on just for a little bit longer on the Fridays. It has been a long topic with a couple of breaks in the middle. But we will just look at this idea of end play and just predicting certain things where we might decide not to play low for good reasons. So sort of unblocking and trying to avoid a nasty ending to the hand for us. We'll look at a defensive hand on the same theme, and then we'll finish with a 5-level decision. Meanwhile, we'll probably still be thinking of warmer climes. Don't forget, we are going, we're going to plenty of places as a company, but I'm going to Tunisia the end of March and then Italy in June. So if you fancy some hotter times, those are nice things to be thinking of. So let's go to the defensive hand. Let's have a look, see if I can find that on my little switchboard there. And there we are. This is our hand. Let's have a quick look at the auction. We are vulnerable against not. I don't think that's going to matter much because the opponents are doing the bidding. It's 1 no trump from south, and you can see the reason I made you vulnerable against not, just to encourage you not to bid. Okay, so we would pass there. You might, I suppose you might fathom a bid if you're non-vulnerable against vulnerable, but to be honest, you're not quite sure a heart lead is right, so I think passing is best. So it's 3 no trumps, and I'm hoping you're happy to lead the Jack of Hearts. I do not like the Ace of Clubs lead here. It's different against a suit contract. Against a no trump contract, you're just getting rid of one of your entries. Okay, the hope is your partner's got 1 high card in hearts, so you only might have 2 to knock out. You knock out 1, they lead a club. You knock out 1, they lead a club, and you've got some winners. Okay, if you lead the Ace of Clubs, you do a number of things, but not many of them good. Yes, every so often it'll show you dummy and your partner will give you an inspirational signal, but generally you're best off just leading your best suit. So we've led the Jack of Hearts. The Ace is won by South, and South leads back. The 9 of Clubs. The 9 of Clubs. What do you fancy? So have a little think about that. And we will come back to that after the little bit of seminar. So 1 no trump, 3 no trumps. You've led the Jack of Hearts to declare as ace, and declare has come back with the 9 of Clubs. Okay, so we will revisit that. So let's go to our little seminar. Here we go. We're still on second hand, plays low. Let's remind ourselves. Well, first and foremost, second hand low is a really good guideline. If you played low every time, you would probably win 75% of the time, particularly if you play low smoothly. I will talk about smoothly a lot, and I have done for the last month or two on Fridays. The point being that you do not want to give anything away. Today, this is particularly so on all of the examples, because if you give anything away, you might give Declarer the crucial clue, because on all of today's hands, Declarer is going to have a guess or a choice of plays, and he will do his best to try and get some hint from you. Let's remind ourselves of the exceptions and the things that we've been going through. Or when we had lots of high cards, should we play one of them to force a card? Should we play a high one to break communications? Really difficult. Go back to that if you want to rehearse that. When you've got an ace, when do you play it? And so often ducking is right. That's why we say second hand low. And what we're talking about at the moment is when we got other winners. And again, the default is second hand plays low. But remember to try and think about the suit before it is led. That is crucial. If you can think about it before it's led, then you can play smoothly when it is led. Okay? And our last topic, which will come up later, is about end plays and entries. So, when we've got other winners, when Declarer leads towards dummy, we had discussed last week that we have to be aware of clashing honours. Okay, so when your high card is able to win the trick, you might go in. The default, though, is second hand low. But what we said was there are two things to contemplate. Okay, as always, we're going to try and work out what Declarer holds. Remember that Declarer does not know what is in your hand. Try not to be self-conscious. Try and work out what Declarer has before he leads the suit or she leads the suit. And so often, if you play smoothly, Declarer will have no idea what's in your hand. The two aspects we were talking about were crashing honours. We saw that last week. It is one of the most horrible things to happen to a defender. Declarer leads towards the queen, you go up with the king, smash, your partner's ace hits your king, and you've wasted a trick. So again, hence playing low. The other option, which we're going to look at today, is when Declarer has a choice of plays. And this will often be obvious. Sometimes not so, because you won't be able to see Declarer's hand. We're going to look at the options today when we see dummy. But you can predict that Declarer will have all sorts of holding. So let's look at an example and clarify what we're talking about. So we're in the west seat. The centre of the table is the green screen, as it were, the green square. Okay, nice and relatively straightforward auction. One no trump from south, we pass. Stayman from north, 2 spades, 4 spades. Okay, 13 points in the north hand. Little bit of shape, so it's not unreasonable to go for game despite the acelessness. So it's 4 spades by south. It's your lead. The 10 of diamonds looks pretty normal here. Everything else looks to be a risk. I don't really want to lead a doubleton when I've got king doubleton anyway in trumps. Does that make sense? So if you're thinking, oh, I could lead the jack of hearts to try and get a ruff, do you want to ruff when you've got king doubleton? Not sure I do. So the 10 of diamonds looks stand out to me. Declarer wins it, partner overtaking the jack, and leads a spade. Is it likely that partner has the jack, singleton, diamond? I don't think so. But what I want to have happened, and I probably should have stopped you at trick 1, because that's usually my trick, isn't it? My trick at trick 1. Is to make sure you've gone through every suit. So when the 10 of diamonds is led there and partner thinks and puts the jack on, stop, leave your 10 of diamonds down. You know that spades are going to be played very soon. Does that make sense? You expect spades to be played. You also expect clubs to be played. You have a decision to be made there as well. So I would want you to think about spades and clubs on this one. And I want you to make your decision before the suit is led. Okay, so maybe if a club was led, would you go up with the ace, just in case it's a singleton? you know that South open one no trump, so you do not expect a singleton. Okay, so you are safe to duck a club if a club's played. What about in spades? Well, in spades, what's going on? So before they're led, so you leave your 10 of diamonds face up and you say to yourself, if declarer leads a small spade, what am I going to do? Well, as far as I'm concerned, if declarer had the ace and jack of spades, I would have expected declarer to win the first trick in dummy and take a spade finesse. So I do not believe South has the ace and jack. Well, if South has got the jack 9 to 4 or something, well, she's just going to knock out the ace and king of spades, so there's no problem there. What's interesting is when South has ace empty, or maybe ace 9 to 4 or something like that. Now South has choices. But if we go up with the king, South has no problems at all. We win the king, that wins the trick, good news, but if declarer's got the ace and queen, they draw the rest of the trumps, and that's the end of the trump suit. How about if declarer's missing that jack, when we play low smoothly? Now remember, it must be smooth. If you think about it, really there's only one card you'd be thinking about, and that would be the king. So if you think and then play the 2 of spades, I think North might go up with the queen here. But if you play low, it is possible that North would play the 10. And that loses to the jack. So let's have a look. Okay, so here's the whole hand. Now you might think to yourself, oh, this is simple. You just play ace of spades and play a spade to the queen. But if East had king jack to 4 or something like that, you might find yourself slightly embarrassed or something like that, particularly if the ace of hearts was in the west hand or something like that. They might very quickly draw trumps and you might be at a disadvantage. You may not, but you can play the trumps in a number of ways. The ace of spades is probably slightly best. You might see a singleton on a 4. But not unreasonably, this South has chosen to lead the 3 of spades. If you play the king, there's no way of declarer going wrong, is there? The ace and queen then draw the trumps. However, if you play low, so let's look at the holding here. If you play low, well, one of declarer's options is the 10. You might think, well, he might play the queen now, and then my king will fall under the ace. But you've made the decision that you do not believe declarer's got the jack. Now, if declarer has got the jack, declarer's played very strangely. In the long run, declarer will lose because declarer could have taken a finesse. And there's no reason for declarer to think I've got the king of spades. Remember, do not be self-conscious. Declarer doesn't know unless you have shown the king of spades to them. So here, by ducking, declarer might think, well, if West had the king of spades, they might well have played it, so I'm going to finesse West for the jack. So they lose to the jack. Now at this point you might think, well, clearly the ace will drop my king, but they do not know where the king is. Once they've lost the first trick, they are now missing the king. They've got the ace queen 9, so they can afford a finesse. So the next time declarer plays, declarer may well finesse East for the king, because otherwise they have to hope the king is doubleton, and there's no way West would have played low from king doubleton. Can you see? So declarer might well lose 2 spade tricks if given a chance here. Ducking has given him the chance to go wrong. Okay, that could be the layout. East could have started with king jack 6, so the first spade lost to the jack, and declarer might now decide to take a finesse of the king. Does that make sense? So the layout could be this. Now on this layout, if declarer had played the ace of spades, declarer always loses 2 spades. But if declarer plays a spade to the 10, which loses to the jack, and then chooses to finesse for the king, then declarer will only lose 1 spade trick. So you're giving declarer the chance to go wrong, because this was the layout, of course. And with this layout, declarer could still lose 2 tricks. Okay, so playing low when declarer has an option is a really important tactic. All right, let's have a look at another one. Have a little sip of. So here we are. Once again, we're in the West seat, and I think you're going to notice a very large similarity. So let's go. 1 no trump, 2 clubs, 2 spades, 4 spades. So the same auction, and I hope it will be the same lead. Again, I'm not massively keen on leading doubletons. On this particular hand, there's no doubt that, you know, partner is likely to have a lot of hearts. We don't know where the strength is, but we know that partner will have a lot of hearts as soon as we see dummy. But we know South hasn't got 4. But really, I prefer to lead a solid sequence, so I'd lead the 10 of diamonds here. Okay, remember, doubleton leads tend to be speculative rather than accurate. Now, this time we will do the hard work. So, dummy plays the 4, okay, and declarer wins the ace like last time, but we are going to leave the 10 of diamonds on the table. I cannot emphasize enough that it is really important, if you are playing online for East here, to have a think about the whole hand before playing the jack, because West needs the time. So West is thinking, I expect a club to be led at some point, I expect a spade to be led at some point, what am I going to do? In clubs, again, because South has opened 1 no trump, I feel no urgency to go up with the ace. In spades, again, if declarer has ace, jack to 4 spades, I would expect declarer to take a finesse. Therefore, I will plan to play small on the first spade. And if declarer makes a mistake of finessing for the jack, my partner will win the jack, and later on my king will make. Again, if you hesitate or take your time, declarer may well place you with the king. Okay, so that's the crucial element here. Making a decision before spades are led. Okay, and as I say here, I would expect you to be thinking about a club lead as well. So remember, when you see dummy, look at your cards with respect to dummy and analyze each suit and try to make decisions in each suit before the suits are actually led. So here, no surprise, this time it's the ace of spades led. That's interesting. Okay. Why hasn't declarer played the ace, the finesse? Because declarer doesn't have the jack, and that is crucial. So when declarer leads another one, are you ready? Yes, you are. You just follow with the 6, nice and smoothly. You don't hesitate, you don't think. Because if you start thinking here, not unreasonably declarer will place you with the king, because there's clearly no sense in playing the jack at any point here. If you play the jack, declarer just wins it with the queen. Okay, so here you play low, and the reason you're playing low is because you know declarer is missing the king and the jack. Can you see the idea? And so if you play the king now, declarer just wins the queen on the 3rd round. But if you play low, declarer might finesse for the jack and put the 10 in. They cannot see your cards. Does that make sense? They cannot see your cards, so take advantage of that. Give declarer the chance to guess wrong. And there's no right answer, it's really tricky. So declarer here has led the ace of spades. As I say, I think that's maybe what they could have done last time. They've led the ace of spades, but when they play another small one, we play smoothly small. Or we play small smoothly. Okay. And by doing that, we create a guess for declarer. And sometimes, in my view, if West doesn't play the king or doesn't hesitate in not playing the king, I will tend to finesse the 10. Because I think a lot of Wests will either play the king or think about playing the king. And therefore, I think when West doesn't play the king, and doesn't hesitate, I should say, I would probably put the 10 in. And therefore, I would lose 2 trump tricks. If West goes in with the king, I just lose 1 trump trick. Okay. Notice here's the holding here. So we play the ace of spades, and for me, if you play smoothly there, I will put the 10 in there a lot of the time. And if I put the 10 in, I clearly lose to the jack and king. Okay. So there's the full hand. Notice the first trick where East has played the jack of diamonds. You might be thinking, surely that's a singleton. Well, there is the chance from de Clercq's point of view it is, and hence the ace of spades first here. But we are pretty sure it's not. South would have to have 5 diamonds, and always remember this when you see a card from partner. Okay, if partner has a singleton, then de Clercq must have lots of cards. Here it would be 5. Well, that would give de Clercq 5 diamonds and 4 spades, which seems unlikely for a 1 no trump opening bid. It's possible, but it's unlikely. Generally, if we've got a 5-card suit and a 4-card suit, we tend to open 1 diamond, the longest suit. So we do not expect it to be a singleton. Okay. Also note here, after the ace of spades and another spade, clearly we only expect partner to have 2 spades, so going up with a king and trying to give him a ruff wouldn't be very wise. Okay, but on the previous one you might have contemplated that, but it doesn't make sense on the bidding. Okay, that's our little topic done. Really tricky, as always, and if you get 100% right, you are a superstar and you need to be playing at higher levels than you are, because they are so difficult, these decisions. Interestingly, the same is true for de Clercq. So each of those hands I've given de Clercq a guess. De Clercq should not get every single one right. If he is, he must be looking at the cards, because there is no right way except when you know where the cards are. So of course, when you look at your little sheets at the end of your duplicate pairs and it tells you can make 10 tricks, that's because the computer's allowed to know where all the cards are. If that makes sense. So let's go back to our Q plus here. We were at this situation. I tell you what, I'll give us the lead. So it's 3 no trumps and we led the jack of hearts so that we can go through that one again. So it was 3 no trumps, we led the jack of hearts and de Clercq led a club. And again, it's imperative, as soon as dummy comes down, the only long suit in dummy is clubs. So as long as you're either, if it's live bridge, you leave the jack of hearts on the table and you think, you know that a club is going to be led a lot of the time. And from my point of view, if de Clercq has got the jack of clubs, he's going to establish them probably. So it doesn't matter if I don't take the first one, I can take the second and third. But the crucial element is, if de Clercq is missing the jack, then he is likely to finesse for the jack. He cannot see your hand. If he could, he would lead straight up to the queen here. And then in fact, the jack would fall underneath our ace and king. But he can't see them. And surely it's a better chance for him to hope that we simply have the jack rather than to hope that we have both the ace and the king. The finesse of the jack is twice as likely to work for de Clercq. Okay. However, on this occasion, we know that playing to the queen will work, but he doesn't. So do not be self-conscious here. We are going to play low. And de Clercq plays, in inverted commas, correctly. He is doing the right thing. Let's just go back. He has 8 clubs. He's playing on the club suit for his extra tricks. And he is hoping that we have the jack. He's taking a simple finesse. If he leads up to the queen, he would need us to hold 2 cards, both the ace and the king. Surely it is better to take a finesse of the jack. And as long as we play smoothly low, de Clercq has got no chance here. He has got a chance, but he will normally play the normal play of finessing the jack. So we therefore make the jack of clubs and the ace and king as well. Okay, and there's not much de Clercq can do. Partner might switch to the king of spades, but after that, I can show you what would happen. Let's have a look. We play small. De Clercq doesn't know we've got it. Partner switches. We play our highest one. And crucially, partner goes back to hearts. You might think, why did he switch? Well, he switched because you know, if Declare's forced or plays the ace too early, then he can establish the spades, but he realises he hasn't got any other entries, so he goes back to hearts. And now, of course, we can develop our heart suit before Declare can knock out the ace and king. Declare will kick himself, but then he shouldn't do. He shouldn't kick himself because, of course, he's taking a perfectly normal 50-50 shot. Okay, whereas leading up to the queen would have been just a 25% shot. Okay, and we take it 2 off there with 2 heart tricks, which is rather nice there. Okay, nothing that the Declarer can do about that. And so that is rather nice. I'll just finish it off there. Declarer started with 7 top tricks, and he knew he needed to make clubs. And if he does, if we had had ace jack or king jack or something like that, then Declarer would have made 2 extra club tricks and would have finished, hopefully from his point of view, making his contract. Okay, so an interesting hand where smooth play again is important. Okay, so it's all about making a plan as a defender. And I don't mean anything deep. I mean looking at each suit in turn, and trying to, I'm just getting the last hand ready, trying to play smoothly when Declarer leads the suit, if that makes sense. Okay, let me just do that. All right, so we're going to finish with the 5-level decision. So let's look at that. This is the one that overruns to the next thing. So here you are sitting in the east seat, and let's see what happens. Partner opens the bidding 1 spade. It goes 2 clubs, and it's your choice of bid. And for me, with 12 points and a decent hand, I'm going to just bid 2 diamonds there, which seems normal. 3 clubs, 3 spades. Okay. They are non-vulnerable. We are vulnerable. And annoyingly, North jumps to 5 clubs now. And that puts the pressure on us. So it goes 1 spade, 2 clubs, and we make a natural 2 diamond bid. 3 clubs from south, 3 spades from west. Our partner, 5 clubs from north. And it's your decision. This is again a tricky 5-level decision. Remember, we are vulnerable and the opponents are not. So good luck with that. Have a nice weekend. I hope you've enjoyed your week as a whole. I will be back at the end of my reboot in denim on Sunday. And I then will be live on Monday. We'll go through that 5-level decision. We'll be talking about doubles as a whole, doubles of no trumps. That's the topic, of course. Wednesday, another teams. And of course, we will be back next Friday. This time we will be live, hopefully. And we will carry on this topic. We'll have gone past this idea of letting Declarer guess. And what we're going to do is look at the last nuances of this topic, including end plays and entries. If you've had any examples of what's come up, please do send them in. If not, send me some topics, some ideas for our Friday lives. Thanks very much for your company, and see you again soon.